Hey everybody, and welcome once again to Get Indie Gaming, where today we're taking a look at 10 of the best looking indie games coming out this week from October 5th through to the 11th. All in all, it's a solid week for new releases as we edge ever closer to the time of year that's usually full of the heavy hitters. So what's coming out later in the week? Let's find out. Up first, and in no real particular order, we have Biomass, which after a few delays is expected out, like many games in this rundown, on Thursday, October the 8th. Biomass is one of the most beautiful and strikingly looking pixel art animated games we've seen in recent months, offering what's said to be a sprawling and interconnected world where the choices you make have meanings within the game. There's also something of a Soulsian vibe to all of this, which was most apparent in the hefty 2 or so hour demo we played earlier in the year. Quite interestingly though, in the run-up to the release, the developer has gone on record to say the demo now isn't too representative of the final game. They go on to say the campaign plays out considerably different to the demo, and we've also seen notes here and there to suggest the overall difficulty has been addressed, which for us at least is most welcomed. Probable highlights apart from the beautiful artwork are the likely to be dynamic boss battles, a rich and well pieced together overall lore, and of course the combat with its mix-up of ranged and melee weapon dynamics. Moving on and to this week's number 9. Overcrowd Commute 'em Up comes out of early access on October the 6th. We've had a close eye on this one over the past year and a half, and of all of the management games out this year, this is one we're probably most excited about. Much of this comes not only from the things you would normally expect, building, construction, hiring staff and buying items for your subway station. These kind of aspects are usually a given in this type of game. What seems to make Overcrowd that little bit different is the focus on the people, the commuters making use of the facilities which themselves seem to take centre stage. The same seems to hold true for the staff you'll virtually employ to help run the station. There's an RPG-like leveling system where you're tasked with looking after their well-being and upskilling them so they're better able to help customers and assist in the smooth running of the station. We've made a point about this before, though it feels relevant to reiterate this focus with its recognisable nod towards an empathy for the staff and commuters alike, and it feels so pertinent, and while goodness knows when and if many of us go back to this type of daily travel grind, Overcrowd could be one of the most enjoyable and different kind of games within this genre coming out all year. Next up we have Falcon Age, with it coming to the Switch and Steam on October the 8th. While this has been out on the PS4 and the PSVR for a little while, this new port launches with additional content such as new quests, an upgraded system of upgrades for your Falcon, revamped cooking mechanics, and multiple quality of life improvements and updates compared to its day one launch. Falcon Age was already a highly enjoyable first-person single-player action adventure, and these updates are all set to give this one a new lease of life while opening it up to a whole new market of players. There's also VR support across most of the popular headsets such as the Valve Index, HTC Vive, and the Oculus Rift and the Quest. At this week's number 7, and coming from the Thomas Was Alone and John Wick Hex creator Mike Bethel, we have The Solitaire Conspiracy. Featuring Greg Miller from Kinda Funny Games, The Solitaire Conspiracy draws its influence from a variant of Solitaire called Streets and Alleys, its biggest game in the studio's short series, where you go about saving the world after your spy agency has been destroyed. You play the game by playing the slightly altered version of Solitaire, with the cards representing spies and associated powers. It's a highly colourful and interesting construct, and comes with a full FMV story campaign as well as time attack and story modes. The Solitaire Conspiracy comes out via the Epic and Steam stores on October the 6th. Moving forwards and onto the number 6, we find Airy Sky Castle. the third installment within this series, and with it we have another opportunity to head on into its often wonderful and whimsical flight-driven experiences. The first two games in the Aery franchise were, and still are, delightful hidden gems, with the flight-based mechanics so satisfying and fluid, with them bettering most of, if not all others in the genre outside of the more dedicated simulators. As before, the setting for Sky Castle is so visually healthy looking, where you get to fly about 10 different landscapes, each having their own differing theme. You'll need to collect a number of feathers in each area to unlock the next, and if this one's anything like the first two games, there's likely to be plenty of fun and relaxation here to be had, well, simply flying around and enjoying the notion and fluidity of the controls. It's combat free and looks all ready to offer up a perfect combination of things with which to de-stress and unwind at the end of the day. Aery Sky Castle is headed to the PC via Steam, the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox One. Next up at this week's halfway point, again not that this particular rundown is in any particular order, developed by the marvellously named Happy Ray Games and published by Humble, Ikenfell is expected out later this week. This all came about following a Kickstarter campaign from all the way back in 2016, with it being called one of those fully featured love letters to turn-based JRPGs. Ikenfell is said to feature a heartwarming story with twists and aplenty about trust, love, friendship and loss, all within a magic school-like setting where you're able to explore the dorms, alchemy labs and dozens of other similarly themed spaces. With plenty challenging boss battles and more than 100 different enemies with which to do battle, all within some finely crafted pixel art aesthetic, Ikenfell may yet become another much-loved indie darling. Ikenfell comes out October 8th onto PCs via Steam and Humble, with console players able to pick this one up on any of this generation's main platforms. At number 4, we have the second season of probably the most fun and enjoyable multiplayer of the past few months. Announced back in August at Gamescom, the theme for the second season is based around medieval knights, dragons, princesses and plenty more besides. There's also said to be many new and different ways with which you're able to personalise and differentiate your bouncing beans, should you so wish, to help them stand out. As for what else is new, so far as this video goes up, the folks at Mediatonic have only shown off a handful of the expected new levels. From what we've seen though, these new routes look a little more complicated than those of the first season, and we'll be jumping back onto this game once more when the Season 2 goes live on October the 8th. To act as a little boost for a bit of time post-launch, players will have access to double fame points for a limited time. So have you guys played Fall Guys, and if so, are you planning on playing through the second season? If so, let us know down in the comments what you think of this game or any others in this rundown.
Consider your predicament.
At number 3, and very much at the edge of what could be classed as an independent video game, Baldur's Gate 3 comes out October 6th in early access. Here you'll gather your party and return once more to the Forgotten Realms in a tale of survival, sacrifice, fellowship and betrayal. The developers have called this their most ambitious RPG yet, and with this early access version, there's around 25 or so hours of self-contained content. Even so, the developers do warn there are bugs here and there and admit it's not yet a polished experience. It'll be in early access for at least a year, although again, they do say it will come out fully as and when it's ready. We suspect we'll get hold of this a few weeks into the early access, once we're done with some of the other great looking games out this October 2020. Up next, and at number 2, we have a spin-off from The Escapists, which came out all the way back in 2015. In this game, players will be taken away to a procedurally generated island with its day and night cycles, where you're able to explore and uncover its secrets. You'll need to hunt for food and most likely be hunted yourself, all the while receiving quests and things to do from a mysterious stranger, or find them washed up for you to collect on the beaches. In something that feels, well, a little bit wrong, you're able to tame and train the monkeys you find about the place to do your bidding. They can act as builders, lumberjacks, or even as a bodyguard, so should you desire. As could, however, be expected in this type of game, The key to survival will be to make use of the resources you find around the island, from building a primitive axe all the way up to building things and, well, mixing a smoothie to keep you nicely fed and watered. The Survivalist is coming out on PC and all the usual consoles, and we'll be getting hold of this most likely on the Xbox to play in couch co-op. At the number 1 slot for games out this week, and in all honesty the game we're probably most looking forward to play the most, I Am Dead comes out on Thursday, October the 8th. Now this all comes from the creators of the delightfully wonderful Wilmot's Warehouse, although there's little similarities between the two. I Am Dead is all about a tale of a museum curator and his dog called Sparky, both of whom just happen to be dead. Now these two are responsible for trying to stop their home island from being destroyed by a volcanic eruption, and while I Am Dead is a kind of hidden objects game, it does flip around and makes a few changes to associated game mechanics. We spotted this one a little earlier in the year, and what's really grabbed our interest here is its story-based elements. Just like Welcome to Elk from only a few weeks ago, the heart of I Am Dead appears to be driven by getting lost all within the stories of the characters you meet along the way whilst playing. As we've said a few times over the past weeks, we've found a wonderful fondness in games of late that are looking to tell in-depth tales, with subtle but delightfully created narratives for their delivery. While we've yet to play it, from what we hear from the developers, and having seen the visuals and associated voice acting, we suspect I Am Dead could make it towards the pointy end of our Game of the Year shortlistings. I Am Dead will be coming out on the PC via Steam and the Nintendo Switch, and we'll be looking to pen a review as soon as we're able. And there we go, we're just out of time for this weekly launch showcase. Many thanks to all of you for watching and supporting Get Indie Gaming over the years. If you've liked the video, please give that like button a gentle caress, and if you're not already, now's a fine time to join our indie game community via a channel subscription and help us grow as we inch towards the magical 100,000 subscriber mark. Either way, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time for another video.